So at the screening of Cowboys and Aliens, which is a movie, if you didn't know, that's about cowboys and aliens, we saw a couple trailers for some other really brilliantly titled films, in particular Battleship and Tower Heist, which is about a heist in a tower. These films are so, there's just poetry dripping from the very posters. When I see Horrible Bosses poster and I think, man, those bosses, I bet they're horrible. It's good because the title of the movie tells you exactly what the movie is, which is the case is with Cowboys and Aliens. And with a movie like this, with movies in general, there's not many sure things. Crazy artistic directors swing really mainstream and make Twilight movies instead of their other smart artistic movies. You can't bet on anything, but one sure thing you almost always can bet on is that if a movie has 5 credited screenwriters, it's going to suck. Cowboys and Aliens has 5 credited screenwriters. You think, hey, what more writing do we have to do after we wrote the title? It's about Cowboys and Aliens. And as it turns out, they didn't do much more writing other than the title. This is not Snakes on a Plane. This is not Mega Shark versus Death Octopus. This is just a movie that's got some cowboys that fight some aliens. There's no sarcasm, there's no irony. Fuck off with all that stuff, idiots. This is cowboys fighting space aliens. Enjoy it or don't, as the case may be. Except the thing is, because it's 2 weird things jammed together, they didn't spend enough time, or maybe they let too many people write both halves, so it ends up being kind of like boring cliche cowboys versus stupid looking, not that scary aliens. It has no reason to exist. The Western is like a suit of clothes at this point. Perhaps like a pair of cowboy boots that directors or filmmakers can slip on when they want to say something. Because the genre is something that you use to talk about ideas, because that's what movies are. They're stories that convey ideas. So back in the day when they were making like black and white Westerns, it was a way of talking about justice and the American way and beating the odds to establish a toehold in a hostile world where you can live free and watch the cattle roam. And then people thought, actually, when we did that, we killed a lot of Indians. We were so rude to them. Like hardcore rude. So they started to make revisionist Westerns, which talked about another subset of ideas, which is the futility of violence, or how the American capitalist ideal has ground a whole bunch of indigenous people into a bloody paste over the centuries and continues to do so around the world. And that's the kind of thing that you might want to talk about if you're making a Western, because that's what Westerns are really good at talking about. Except this Western doesn't talk about anything. It's just a cowboy cliche surrounded by other cowboy cliches that shoot at sci-fi cliches. It's passable at best. It's the definition of mediocrity. So I'm going to tell you what to watch instead. It's probably the best revisionist Western, the absolute apotheosis of the acid Western genre, when people said, hey, Westerns are cool, but they kind of have this weird mixed moral message about killing Indians, so let's make them about what the exploration of the West was probably actually more realistically about, which was death. And watch Dead Man, directed in 1995 by Jim Jarmusch. It's one of my all-time favorite films. It's an absolute masterpiece that kind of didn't get ignored when it came out, but it certainly wasn't hailed as the groundbreaking piece of art that it's come to be seen as in the past couple of years. And it's one of those films that the longer the time span between when it comes out and now, the better it looks, because it makes a film like Cowboys and Aliens look as idiotic as it actually is. So go watch Dead Man instead. Peace. Oh, and Twitter us. We're tired of all, like when you look back in the library of old movies like Straw Dogs or Taxi Driver, it's like these titles. What is Straw Dogs about? A dog made of straw? No. In 2011, what would it be called? Post-rape house defense. Man gets angry. Twitter us some of your favorite movie titles, 2011 style.